Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are live here down at the Turnbuckle Tavern for the All Elite wrap-up. It is Tuesday night, which is a nice little change of things for us, but goddamn, you know what that means. I am here, good old Mike BELCASTER, as always, and with me is my partner in crime.
Live from the No Sale Studios, it's the ace of the tavern, Stephen Acefield, and man, it's not Wednesday, so it's Tuesday, and bad things happen on Tuesdays. And dude, I mean, it was such a good Dynamite, ended on such a sour note.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Part of me thought it was worked at first because just, all the suspense, MJF leaving the booth and all that. But, I mean, apparently he really fucking landed badly and screwed himself up, man. So, hoping that Hangman recovers quick. That was a pretty brutal ending to a clothesline. I think probably the end all be all for a clothesline. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get fucked up from a clothesline before.
Yeah, and it was just a response to another clothesline that seems like they were going to go back and forth and exchange and go for the finish. They seemed like they had about 5 to 6 minutes left because I think, as you mentioned, to talk about the end of the show, I believe that they actually had that in mind to have MJF come out and challenge for full gear. But I mean, it's not a work when Excalibur is sitting there and reading as slowly as possible down the match lineup. Do you have anything else? We want to run down Dark from next week?
He should have. That would have been entertaining. But it was weird, and I thought they were trying to give you the the vision that the show was over, and then they were reading off the stuff. I thought it was gonna be like done, and then they went back to Mox, and I was like, okay, here we go. MJF's gonna come out, but they kept the production was all over the place, and you knew something was wrong because they kept shooting at the lights and the ceiling and shit, and not so much making it seem like they were talking about Mox, so it was that was concerning. But man, I seen some video and I was checking it out. It looked
I have some
painful.
video on here too to show everybody here. And if you missed it, guys, I guess let's just go right into the news. And I don't think we need a bumper for it. Let's go right into it. Let's start with the news. As you guys can see on the scroll going here, Hangman Page was injured during the world title match on AEW Dynamite against Jon Moxley. So if you missed it, it was roughly 10 minutes of TV time left. Moxley hit Page with a clothesline, like BELCASTER alluded to, that turned Page inside out. After he hit the mat face first, the referee went to check on Page and immediately signaled for AEW doctor Michael Sampson to enter the ring. So I'm going to show you guys the clothesline. I have the GIF on here, so hopefully that won't flag us, but you guys can check this out and watch him hit. So you could see him land directly on his head, and I think the troubling part for me, Mike, was that he was motionless and there was no response. His limbs seemed like they went limp.
Yeah, no, it was very intense, but it was something that you don't expect to see. You don't expect somebody to get hurt on a clothesline. They do it all the time. I mean, shit, how many clotheslines did we see tonight?
Yeah,
and it was like one of those fluke injuries, man. And yeah, man, hopefully he's okay. You don't know, but it did look brutal. And it was just weird. And I felt Mox's promo afterwards was still a little too in character.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I'm not taking away from the injury at all because it did look pretty fucking painful.
Yeah, and it seemed in bad taste at first because if you think about it, it's like everybody that walks in this ring, get in the ring with me is bad for your health, and it's like, I'm sure that was obviously what he was planning to say, no matter what, because he was supposed to go over Hangman, but the way it went down made it feel a little bit, as you said, kind of in bad taste. But I get it. It's like you have to go for the throat when you're out there with MJF and want to build that match at full gear, so you can't just shy away from it's wrestling. You know what I mean? Like you have to go for the throat.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it was like I said, it happened so quick, so it felt very just all over the place. But like you said, Excalibur was slow and well spoken. He wasn't rushing to get over to the Rampage. Ruffles all trying to it was very yes, we got this match, and then they had way too much time to kill. It was crazy. So it's crazy. They did mute it on my end. He did say I was reading Marco's thing. They said they muted it, but Mox said no. He said I hope he's okay.
No, we heard that for sure. I mean, the mic was messed up, so I don't know if they were trying to get ahead of his F-bombs or something like that, but the mic kept going in and out. You heard the crowd feedback. It just was a mess, and Mox alluded to at the end, if we get a fucking mic to work, then maybe the show wouldn't be off the rails. But I thought they did it okay for what the situation was. They had to get to that angle because you need to build towards the full gear match with MJF, and they made the best of it. you mentioned the camera's focused on Moxley and what was happening behind the scenes. I have the video. This is raw footage from someone that was live there. Credit Dogs Fan in for the video of Hangman being put on the stretcher. So it's 40-something seconds. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you guys can see him being loaded and they're stabilizing his neck. All right, so the video goes on, and you can see they're doing everything to make sure he's being safe. And all this is going on while Mox is cutting his promo. So if this was indeed part of the storyline, they would be showing it, and it just wasn't part of it. So
Yeah.
There's some tweets going out specifically from someone who just suffered an injury that was pretty devastating over a year ago from Big E. And he said, praying for Hangman. So I'm hoping it's not the neck. I mean, any of the injuries, any of the possibilities is not a good thing. But the Big E tweet kind of hit me a certain way, like, I'm hoping it's not that. And Big E is proof that it can end so quickly. Like, he hasn't been back actively, and it's, he's trying to get back there, but it's a long road.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Justin brought up a good point here, and there was another thing I was going to bring up too. Is they loosened the bottom rope, and it was like when MJF did the fall back to roll out of the ring, it was the rope was still loose, so it was really strange, and it even fucked up MJF a little bit on his shit, because you could see when he got into the ring, the rope was loose. Obviously, they did it to pull Hangman out safely. Crazy, man.
Yeah, and it took what was a very eventful Dynamite and took it to the next level, and not a good way. Like, we're talking about this, and there's other news to break down, but like, how is there even a transition from this? We don't have the information yet on what the actual injury is. We can all make assumptions and we can jump to conclusions based on what it was and how they treated it. But until we have more information, I don't want to jump to too many conclusions. Just hoping he's okay, hoping he can get back in the ring, because first and foremost, the human being, Hangman Adam Page, want to make sure he's absolutely okay. And I think AEW did a good job of handling, stopping the match. Health came first, and the match quality is secondary, obviously.
Yeah, and it's weird. I'm not seeing too much popping up yet about anything. No updates on the situation. So crazy, man. Absolutely crazy.
But let's go into the other news. I'll leave this on the bottom here, so if you're just joining us, you guys can see that is what we were talking about, the big story of the night, unfortunately. We had a Jericho contract extension. So AEW president, CEO, general manager, and head of creative, Tony Khan, recently spoke to Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated, and he talked about how Jericho signed a new contract extension going through 2025. So this is talking about not only is an in-ring talent, but he's going to be helping behind the scenes. And I'm asking you, Mike BELCASTER, do you think this is something that AEW needs to stabilize its unsteady locker room?
You know what? I think it's good overall. I wouldn't necessarily say it's just a ploy to keep the locker room in good standards, but I think it will benefit the younger talent. I think it would be great to have. I think it'll benefit the overall product with Jericho having a word in on stories and production and stuff like that, and just being the GOAT that Jericho is. So I'm happy to see it. I want him here as long as we can get him, and I think this is a good. Like, obviously, after today's outing, Jericho can still fucking go, and that's never a question. But man, it's gonna be good to have him in the back doing some stuff too, and I think that's a beneficial thing for any wrestling company.
Was there a piece of you that thought he'd ever go back to WWE? I know everybody feels like they eventually go back, whether they've been spurned or they decide to go to greener pastures. They eventually decide to go back. Did you ever think for a second Jericho was going to wind up going back there? I mean, he obviously Hall of Fame down the line, but active competitor?
I don't think so. I mean, he's always kind of made it his thing, like, oh, I love doing this now. And I think the stint with him and Kenny in New Japan really opened his eyes to what was outside of the WWE bubble. And I think he's enjoying himself. He's got no rules to follow except for, being Chris Jericho. And that makes for good business for everybody. That's why Jericho is still so damn good. Every week he's out there, and he could tour with Fozzy. Not that he wasn't able to in WWE, but he's got his podcast, and I'm sure they would make a plea to get all that to work for him now. But right. I think Jericho's having a ball and probably having the time of his life. Who would have thought in 10 years ago, he'd be saying, "Oh, we just watched Dalton Castle fight Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor title."
That is a good point. I mean, we'll get to Dalton Castle because, dude, I was so impressed with Dalton and
Always,
what he can bring to the ring. He's an eccentric character that goes back to not only in-ring style, but what AEW desperately needs is these transcendent characters. And I think the charisma that Dalton shows on a nightly basis, whenever he gets a chance, he electrifies. He just grips you, casual audience and diehard. He's on the screen. It's so ridiculous. It's so over the top, but it works for him.
Yeah, it was really good. It was fun. And it just goes to show how good Jericho still is and how beneficial he is to a talent like a Dalton Castle. Not that Dalton Castle is a sprung young chicken, but I mean the guy can learn working with Jericho in the ring, even if it's for these matches, and just as much as anybody could learn from anybody, you know. And who better to learn from than the guy himself, Chris Jericho.
So in the other news here, we have Jon Moxley says the last 3 years have been the best of his career, but he's ready to give back. He goes on this interview, which was done with Tony Pike and Rick Aquino of Cincy 360 to hype the evening Dynamite. Did it on a radio show. He talks about how he wants to give back in the final 3 years of his contract here in AEW. What does that look like for you, Mike Belcaster? Is it to put people over, or is it just making stars similar to how Wheeler Yuta was made in a bloodied match, but Moxley still goes over? Because at the end of the day, he's still the guy.
Yeah. Then he's still, no matter what, it's not who wins the match that makes the talent, it's about how you work yourself through the match. I think this is awesome. I think it's good to see Mox kind of taking, I wouldn't say a step back necessarily, but taking a more hands-on approach to what he's doing. And he's clean, sober, got his shit together. He obviously doesn't want to work a fucking crazy schedule having the kid and stuff like that, and he wants to wind down and spend more time with family and all that. I think it's just perfect to have Mox hanging out, getting into that role of giving back and being the dude, because he is the dude. And I mean, like you said, even if he does this awesome match, he's putting over the young talent while he's working with them, no matter what.
Yeah, and there was a couple good quotes. I suggest you guys go and find it. I'm not sure exactly where you could find it. I think it was available on Cincy 360's website as a podcast form. I think it went about 15, 20 minutes, but it was a good listen. And then the quote here from hoping to give back to wrestling, he said, "Now looking forward to the next 5 years, I think a lot has shifted to how can I give back to wrestling? How can I perpetuate wrestling going forward? Wrestling gave me everything I have in my life. I would be the cliche, you'd be dead or in jail. I can't think of another way to put it. I would be nothing without wrestling. It's the thing that brought me to life and gave me purpose. And it's the thing that's mine. It brought me everything I have in my life, from my wife to my family, to my house, my truck, my friends, my life experiences." This is someone who understands that wrestling is super important to obviously his livelihood, but he wants to leave it better than he found it. And that is a mindset that, to be honest, it's rare in wrestling for guys to think about other people, planting a tree before it's, for someone else to sit under. You're not going to be able to reap the benefits from it. Moxley seems like he has a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah, no, he wants to give back to the business that gave him so much. I mean, that's what you do, right? When you get older, and you gotta make sure your craft is good out there, and you gotta make sure the people you leave your legacy behind doing that. Like a Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn's still giving back after all these years, and he's still he's the new fucking show, man.
Shout out Jerry Lynn.
Hell yeah, big shout out. When we'll get to Jerry Lynn too, because there was some cool shit with him. But
for sure,
yeah, man. I think a Mox and a Jerry Lynn role, fucking perfect. And that's the same thing with Jericho. Like, it's good to see these guys sticking around and making sure that the up and comers and the rest of the roster are going to benefit from them still being there.
And it's refreshing too, because you and I are covering 1996 WCW, and that's full of guys that, the egos were huge and wrestling was different. And they had to fight and scrap for every single dollar that was left on the table, because it wasn't guaranteed to the level it was today, where guys can be, retired and their children can be set for life. And that wasn't the case back in the 90s, not yet. And it's thanks to those guys. So I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on them, but the egos and the personalities like a Hulk Hogan put him on blast. He's not thinking about how to make wrestling better for a guy that hasn't even been born yet. Moxley, I feel like, has that in his mind.
Absolutely. I think it goes to show, like, these guys don't want to necessarily do it in WWE. They want to do it for AEW. They want to put this company more on their back, even outside of the ring. And that's an awesome thing to hear. I mean, that's dedication. That's showing your commitment to an up and coming brand as opposed to going back and just accepting the check.
So we have Tom in the chat, and shout out to Tom. He can't be here tonight, but we're looking forward to having him back next week. And he says, sounds like a concussion for Hangman. He's being evaluated at a hospital. Keep us up to date. If you guys see anything on social, fly through,
Yeah.
put it in the chat and let us know what's going on with Hangman Page. We'll keep you updated. Obviously, if we go off the air beforehand, you guys can check it out at the flagship tomorrow morning. They're recording later than us, so they're definitely gonna have more up-to-date information about it. And also stay tuned to our social media. You know that we're gonna have you, whether you follow anyone from the Pod Foundation, mostly at Turnbuckle Tavern, they'll have you drop with the latest news. So moving down the news, and this is not even newsworthy, but I feel like I want to have a conversation with you about it. Tony Khan set for a rare meet and greet for AEW fans at Daly's Place. So AEW has announced that Khan will appear for a free meet and greet at AEW's home base of Daly's Place on Thursday, October 20th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. This will be for a live AEW Rampage. It's a photo op, no autographs. Begs the question, would you want to take a picture with Tony Khan? And you think there's enough of, a desire from people there for there to be a line? I feel like Tony would be upset if there wasn't a line for him.
Yeah, I listen, I'm guaranteeing there's going to be a line. It's Daily Place. It's not like it's,
It's home base for Tony Khan. It's a safe place for him.
Jaguars fans, everybody's going to be lining up. They're going to be like, hell yeah, TK's going to be there. I thought this was a good idea, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bummed that this wasn't a thing here. It would have been cool to meet Tony and just get a picture with him. No autographs. Oh, yeah. I was reading the flyer. No autographs, nothing crazy. You can't bring any personal items, but he's there to take a picture with you, and you get to say, hey, Tony, like, thanks for doing what you do. And who doesn't want to do that? It's cool.
Yeah, I just thought it was awesome, and he's a guy, we see him on screen here and there, not as a character, but as himself, and it can come off as whatever you want to call it, awkward or eccentric or whatever the word or the adjective you want to use to describe Tony Khan. That's up to you. But we've seen him on the screen. We know he doesn't have that presence of the polished nature of a Vince McMahon in front of the screen. Yeah. But I love his passion. I love what he's done for pro wrestling. And like you said, I love to say thank you for reinvigorating my love for pro wrestling. I know we get lost in the minutia of all the nitpicking of the booking, but at the end of the day, we wouldn't be doing the show if it wasn't for Tony Khan, because I certainly wouldn't be doing a reaction show to Raw or SmackDown. God no.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't know, man. Imagine if Vince did this in '98.
Yeah.
How big would that fucking been? And like, it's pretty cool that the guy could be like, I don't think he's doing it out of an ego thing. Like, oh, I'm gonna have the best fucking meet and greet line ever. I think this is just generally him like, yeah, I want to do the meet and greet thing. Like, let's try it out. Let's see what happens. I think he's giddy enough to be like cool with the fan base. Let's
I don't know. Fucking go.
Take my picture.
I had to slide it in because you're like, let's go. I was like, how is he not doing it right now? All right, so we have other news here. Two more things to talk about. Backstage news on AEW filming a new behind-the-scenes documentary. So they're reportedly working on a documentary, perhaps a docu-series. We talked about it last week with TNT and TBS. They want some shoulder content for wrestling that's not in the ring. This may be something like this. So a new report from Fightful Select notes that AEW talent and staff were told this past week that the company is set to produce a documentary show that will focus on behind-the-scenes aspect of a group of AEW talents. We're not sure who's going to be involved, but this will all be going down in 2023. Warner Brothers Discovery made it clear that this is a priority for them. Guess it's good news for them potentially having a new deal in place. Maybe something's already set up. They're going to announce in the new year.
No, absolutely. It's going to be called Roads to the Top, but actually spelled ROADS.
Amazing.
It'll be Tony's little shtick there. No, listen, I'm cool. I would like to see more content. I think it adds more viewership. People might like the reality show and be like, hey, I want to check this out. And, any potential fan base out there, they should be reaching for all of it. Let's fucking go.
Well, aside from the drama backstage, there are some good storytelling that could happen backstage. I know we talked about the Bellas and the Total Divas and all that stuff. That caught a certain subsect of the fan base that some people just watch those reality TV shows, and you can get people to start to watch your product, and they're trying to bridge the gap with casual fans. It's worth a shot. I mean, if people are complaining about it, you don't have to watch it. It's not like it's going to be on our TV. Like Road to the Top didn't bother me because it wasn't involved in our TV programming. Same thing. I mean, Total Divas sort of blended in, became part of the storyline, but it doesn't infiltrate to the point where it's invasive. Like it's just whatever.
No,
it's just there.
It's not going to hurt anything. It's just extra programming and a good way to get more eyes on other talent that might not be on Dynamite every week or Rampage every week, and see the serious soft side of Will Hobbs.
There you go. I like that. The sweet side of Will Hobbs wants to talk to you about something. All right. So we also have Conan asked Kenny Omega to send in a video for AAA Triple Mania, and Omega couldn't due to legal issues from the All Out Melee. This is the first we're hearing about Kenny Omega in the news in a bit. So we obviously know AAA held their biggest pay-per-view of the year, Triple Mania, which saw Lucha Libre legend Conan named as the promotion's new head of talent relations. So Conan has revealed in the latest edition of his Keeping It 100 podcast that he tried to get top AEW superstar Kenny Omega involved in the show. We know he's a former AAA champion. He's had involvement as of last year. Conan says that he asked Omega to send a video in to challenge the winner for the world title match or their AAA Mega Championship match, as it was the title that Omega had to relinquish due to injury. However, Omega was not able to send in a video due to the ongoing legal issues stemming from the Cleaner's involvement in the backstage melee at All Out. So do you think this says more about, I guess, Kenny's standing in AEW or more about their relationship with AAA? What do you take from this?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I'll lean more towards the standing in AEW. Maybe, or maybe, no, I'm completely fuck that. I'm leaning towards their relationship with AAA. Because, I mean, yeah, I think the Forbidden Door is kind of closing up a little bit. It's not as prominent as it was. I hope we get to see another New Japan mashup. But I mean, the AAA thing's been mostly AAA benefiting from it over AEW. I mean, you get your titles are on TV.
Yeah, and you get their major stars. I mean, Rey Fenix was just a Triple Mania too. Like he was in the world title match. So and Penta too was involved in a crazy match too. If you guys didn't see the highlights of that, Penta was blown up. I think he stole the show, in my opinion.
Yeah, he almost got his mask was completely torn and ripped to shits, and it was great looking, man. I seen the stills from it. I was like, God damn, that looked like a barn burner. But yeah, no, I think maybe they're just like, fuck it. Who knows? I don't know. I know Kenny Omega.
Definitely something to watch for sure. It's not, I don't think we're done with this yet, and I think Kenny does have unfinished business in AAA, and we don't like to leave things and stones unturned. So there's stories to be told there, and I would love to see Kenny have another run there. But let's prioritize AEW and have him there full time first. I mean, he was only back for a couple of weeks, and then all this went down with CM Punk. So can we just all get everybody in house first before we start lending them out?
Yeah, and I know Kenny Omega's been all over the place. He was in Japan a couple weeks back. He was spotted at Halloween Horror Nights over at Universal this weekend, and so was CM Punk, which is really weird. So fun stuff. Yeah, odd, right? These two men can't be at the same place at the same time. They hate each other. Are
you putting your tinfoil hat on again right now?
This isn't how wrestling works. I have photographic evidence. No.
All right. So our last piece of the news, and then we'll get into Dynamite and break down all the happenings, all the wrestling that went down, not just the Hangman stuff. You guys can still see, if you're just joining us, you see all the Hangman stuff going through. He's hurt. We're waiting for the updates. Ended the match early. The final piece of news is FTR. We saw them in a Rampage commercial on AEW Dynamite, but the AAA tag champions FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, have their next title defense lined up. So they were not at Triple Mania defending their titles, but Dragon Lee and Dralistico are going to be wrestling FTR, and this will be done. They didn't say when it would be done. A date for the match has yet to be announced, but they earned a AAA Tag Team Championship match. Do you see FTR just being stripped down of all these titles and getting them off them because they're collecting dust at this point? Yeah. New Japan probably wants their damn tag titles back, and I'm sure AAA wants them back, especially if you don't have access to the talent. At this point, the tag titles mean a lot. You can't have them collecting dust in some promotion.
Yeah, I mean, on AAA's end, I think it wouldn't be a bad move to pull them off of them. I don't know. I think FTR doesn't need the belts at this point. Would be awesome if they had all the belts. Yeah,
we've been waiting for that. Yeah,
yeah. But are they going to kill the Acclaim? Like, where are you going with it? Like, that's the thing. Like, you're going to have to sacrifice something, and it's probably going to be the AAA titles for sure. I think New Japan's pretty happy they have titles in two major companies in the U.S. right now, technically, if you want to call it that, but two champions at least. But
that's a whole other story too with Carl Anderson, because he's double booked. Yeah. So he's never open weight championship. He's double booked. So we'll see what goes on with that. And there's been a lot of rumblings and all throughout. Maybe there's a relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling and WWE, but if you're double booking Carl Anderson on the same day that he's supposed to be defending the title, and it's supposed to be a WWE pay-per-view, it seems like they're not working together, but who knows?
Yeah. No, and I honestly I don't see Triple H maliciously going after AEW in any sense. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
there's no heat with that. I think if anybody's going to be the guy that would work with AEW, it would have been Triple H out of the group. You know, he would be like, hell yeah, let's do it, like, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I think New Japan's pretty fucking lucky in this circumstance because they got, again, two guys that are their champions on national television no matter what, and they, you know, two of the biggest companies outside of Japan. So it's beneficial for them. FTR just needs to get their shit together and win them fucking titles, man.
Tell the Booker man that. That's what they'll say.
Booker man.
So the one thing, and this wasn't in the news, and this is just something that popped in my brain as I was watching Dynamite, because there was a lot of conversation on social media on the build up to this Tuesday showdown, and we're returning to have the old school Wednesday night wars. Both sides of the pole are staring at each other. It's NXT versus AEW one last time. Here we go, Tuesday night. So WWE kind of doubled down. They brought some main roster talent down to NXT. And I'm not sure if you were following. We saw Rhea Ripley, we saw AJ Styles, we saw Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows. There was a lot. Kevin Owens. Do you think there's anything to say here about Triple H considering AEW real competition? And was he trying to bury them? And the ratings shall be interesting. Yeah. But the fact that Triple H made an effort spoke to me a little bit more than if he didn't. You know, you know what I mean? Like, I think the fact that he brought down these guys was like, you know what? I have them in high esteem, and I want to bring my best against them. So as much as he wants to say in Ariel Helwani that they're not competition and he doesn't like AEW and they're a pissant company, to go all the way back to what he originally said, that was a little bit more respect. And I think he probably wanted to show people.
Yeah. You know, I think it's he's got a very big emotional attachment to NXT, right? So obviously he wants them to do good against the competition. Be it as he will, you know, call the spade a fucking spade. Call the ace. What's up, Ace? But yeah, I think Triple H, I don't think he felt pressured to do it. I just think he wanted to make, oh yeah, you forgot, like, this is my NXT, you know. So Owens, AJ going down there, that's his homies. And they're showing up for him too. So it's cool, and that, like, at least it gives him. It gives NXT a little bit more credit. I think NXT's been slacking since the change up and everything. Oh, yeah. And yeah, so absolutely.
It was unwatchable. So, it's better now, allegedly, but
this is the only way to make it better is by throwing Kevin Owens back on there. And I'm sure Samoa Joe would have been there too. You know, right. if you know, William Regal, fucking get them all. But it was, tough competition tonight, though, if that's what his game plan was, because this was a fucking really good episode of Dynamite.
But you know, the WWE fans and people that, not just fans, people that hate on AEW as a hobby. Yeah. So the people that just hate on AEW for whatever they do, they're going to hate on it. Now they're saying, I'm reading stuff on Twitter, and these are people that just are whatever, WWE lifers, stand for WWE people. They're saying not only that AEW has to beat them, they have to triple the amount of viewers because it's not fair that, you know, this is still developmental. To me, no, it's head to head. Like if NXT beats them, they have a reason to sort of boast a little bit, puff their chest out and say, you know, we went the best. And I'd be shocked if they beat AEW. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine if somebody did, like, oh, Simpsons and South Park are going head to head. South Park's got to triple the Simpsons ratings for it to even be a good show. Like, it sounds so stupid. Like,
so stupid, but that's wrestling, dude. Like, you think Star Trek and Star Wars hate each other like this? I'm not involved in that community. Do they hate each other like this?
I would assume so. They would have to. You think
right? So? Do they ever go head to head? I mean, movies released on same day or something like that?
No, and I mean, Star Trek's a fucking a television show.
I know, but there's movies that came out. Star Trek the movie came out.
Yeah, like Enterprise, Return of the Enterprise. Whatever. But like whatever, like fan bases are always going to clash, no matter what, you know. But fuck them. Like I can't even pay attention to the other side of the fucking fence because it takes away the joy from this side of the fence. You know, so that's why I cut it off. You know, I don't need that negativity in my life, especially my pro wrestling fandom.
Get that negativity out of here. No one hates pro wrestling more than pro wrestling fans. With that being said, let's bring down 2 hours of great pro wrestling.
It's showtime, folks.
All right, Mike BELCASTER, lead us away here for Tuesday Night Dynamite, man. This was a nice little treat on a Tuesday.
You know what? It was very fantastic. I thought it was refreshing. I really enjoyed it, actually, because I miss having just, wrestling on Tuesdays. It takes such a long time to get to Wednesdays for us. That Tuesday was a nice, oh, we got your back. Everything's okay. So I was pretty pumped, man. We started off things nice and hot with the Trios World Championship match. We had Death Triangle versus Orange Cassidy, the Best Friends, and this was a fun match, man. Good hot start for fucking Dynamite. I thought it was fantastic. Some good spots. How many clotheslines have we seen in this match, for God's sake?
Exactly.
But really well done. Very good shit. Obviously, our beautiful Death Triangle still got the victory. Orange Cassidy ain't, doing the Ultimo Dragon with all the belts yet. He's just doing his thing. But it was good. It was fun. It was, like I said, it was a hot start, man.
They do the openings very well. And I can't think of any Dynamites really in recent memory that, even when they were booking poorly and things were sort of a mess a little bit as far as builds to pay-per-views, they always started off hot with in-ring action. And that's what they do it the right way. I mean, we see that again, to compare it with WCW, they do that as well. We see hard-hitting action. How many times in 1996 we see Dean Malenko go out there and wrestle Rey Mysterio or Ultimo Dragon or Psychosis, La Parka, any of these guys and setting the tone. And this match was the same thing. And I thought the presentation of Death Triangle, they looked like stars. The way they all came out, they looked amazing. And I think it was a good rebound for Pac, who coming off the loss in the main event, no less, and he lost Orange Cassidy. And I don't think it hurt him by any means, but this was a good response to having Pac, who he's not your world champion, but he's a guy that you want to build towards being the main eventer eventually. We talked about it next week. Last week. He's probably one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world right now that people don't talk about. And I think you have something special with him. So I was really impressed with their presentation. Some nitpicking stuff. Can Penta just get rid of the Joker gear at this point? It really frustrates me. He wore it once at Double or Nothing and then just spams it. Like, he had sick gear at Triple Mania. I know it got torn up and the mask got torn up, but he has a million masks. We've seen him wear at House of Glory. We've seen him wear it on the Indies. Yeah. Where are those masks, dude? Did you just sell them all and you're just rocking the Joker mask? It's such a nitpick you didn't get mad about, but what are we doing with the Joker thing, dude? You were the Joker once in the Casino Ladder match.
Listen, we got Magic in the chat. I think he really just wants a goddamn Joker action figure. Like, I think that's why he's wearing it.
Will he stop wearing it, please? I mean, at this point.
I would hope so. But maybe who knows? Maybe that's all the gear he had after his badass AAA gear got fucked up. And
I don't know. He has such cool ass gear, and I know the Penta Obscura gear, all black. He always does. The fact that he goes to this so often, let's just say, Penta, I love you, dude. The bar is just super high for your gear. I've seen you wrestle in the Indies in like the blue mask, the orange mask, the pink mask. One of the better masks in all of lucha history. If I'm just not speaking in hyperbole, Penta's mask is legit.
Yeah.
So you have so many ones. Why are we doing the same one over and over again?
No, it's weird. I would prefer to see him switch it up more. I like when guys style out the gear and go all out with it. This is how you should be, man.
The other thing I loved here and a bring back from the Indies, Orange Cassidy bringing out the championship belt in the backpack. Like, I love that. People remember any belt he won on the Indies, he used to put it in the backpack and he'd walk down the ring dragging it down the ring. This was a nice little aesthetic, and you probably have Jim Cornette's going to shit on it all. It's so disrespectful to the title belt. I loved it. He's too lazy to carry it around his waist. He has to put it on his back. Loved it.
It might be the most respectful thing to happen to the All Atlantic Championship so far.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So
you can carry it in a trash bag. It probably would have been better. So, but I loved it. And I like the presentation. As you said, this match was freaking awesome. This match set the tone, and all these guys looked like, amazing, fast paced. You can't ask for a better opener for a 2-hour TV show.
No, absolutely. And the chemistry between Cassidy and Pac, like I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again, it's just fucking through the roof, man. These guys work so goddamn well together. I like to see the furious side of Orange Cassidy, too, a little bit more. And it was like he had it out. Like, they went to, the best friends were like sitting on his shoulders, and he was just fucking fuming mad, pissed off little Orange Cassidy, man. It was cool. I like the serious side of it.
And that's the side of Orange I think that we need to see more of. We need to see more of that in-ring competitor that it's okay to be goofy. It's okay to have that gimmicky stuff. But when the lights turn on and you're ready to go to action, you could be a killer. And I think that's the line they need to blur a little bit for us to get us to believe he could be this, not only a mid-card champion, but a main event champion. Because he draws. I mean, the ratings show that he's one of the bigger draws on Dynamite every time he's on our screen.
Absolutely. And he fucking sells. He looks great in the ring, man. He's $1 million. I love it. Absolutely love it. So it was a
pretty good women's match next too. I thought this was a really good. It wasn't just a good match, but there was good storytelling here. Toni Storm took on SHIDA. She retained the interim women's championship, but the real story happened after the match. We have storytelling going on with Hater and Rebel, but obviously we got a returning Riho as well. So we have a little bit of a different feel to the women's division overnight, it seems. So
yeah.
What were your thoughts on Rio coming back? And do you think the women's division was revitalized with it? And do you think that possibly we can have her jump up to the main event, or is she just going to be another one of those fodder for the TBS title?
Hey man, Rio is top-notch shit. She
inaugural women's champion, you know?
Yeah, man. And I'm as just as much as I am for Shida, I'm a fucking huge Rio mark. I love her in-ring style. I love fucking the whole presentation. Awesome shit. First off, the match was awesome, very solid, action-packed. Enjoyed it, really did, which is cool. Huge Shida fan. Shida and Jamie worked fucking so well together. Like, it was good stuff. And then you got Rio coming back. Rio's $1 million, man. I think this is great for the women's division. And like you said, it felt really solid with the storytelling, solid with the match. You know, Paige was back out there beating up DMD. Like, it was good shit, man. And I very much enjoyed the women's segment this week.
And what a novel idea, building a story in the ring, not just doing something backstage segments. And you had Britt Baker coming out to the ring. We did have the Britt Baker promo prior, and it felt like that's all we were going to get from her. Yeah. But it was cool. Cheap Heat wearing the Steelers jersey in Cincinnati. Perfect way to do this. So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a nice place, a nice jump start for the women's division that desperately needs it, man. The Thunder Rosa stuff left us in a bad lurch with the women's division. They're trying their best to do it. Toni Storm feels like a lame duck champion, but this is the first time she felt like legitimate. Beating Shida, felt she was a legitimate women's champion. Interim tag be damned.
Yeah, damn right. And it was good. Like I said, I absolutely loved it. Really enjoyed the shit out of the match. No shenanigans either.
Which was cool too until the end. Like they could have easily just
no bullshit in the middle of the match. The girls got in there, they did their business, and then they did story afterwards. Perfect.
So we had a whole bunch of stuff in a row here. We'll kind of combine them, and then I'll let you break down the MJF promo with William Regal, which was awesome. Probably the highlight of the show. We had Renee Paquette backstage with FTR. That was a good promo. They just talked about getting a match Swerve in our Glory. For whatever reason, they're putting on their number one contendership on the line against Swerve in our Glory next week. Not really explained. Stay tuned to tomorrow's episode of the Flagship. With Sneed is going to be hot with Keith Lee, because Keith Lee was he used the word indubious again. He just was as Keith Lee as possible. Like, there's no other verb for it.
Eat an apple.
He's Keith Lee. That's exactly he was more Keith Lee than ever tonight.
Yes.
We also had the video package with the Kingdom. Did you watch Rampage? So are you familiar with Taven Bennett and Maria Kanellis? I know you know them because you're an Impact guy.
Yeah.
But I felt like them doing it on Rampage. I know they want people to watch Rampage. It's live. But just showing a video package on Dynamite, they probably should have appeared to make people understand who they are.
I feel like they got brought in for Ring of Honor backpacking. And they're just
shoulder content.
Yeah, very good shoulder content. We love shoulder content here at the Turner Networks. But yeah, I feel like that's even they could have came out and been the most impactful thing. I think it's just pulling them in for Ring of Honor. And why not? You know, absolutely. And it seems like there was a lot less Ring of Honor tonight, even though there was the Ring of Honor match. Like, it felt more of an AEW show tonight, which I was very happy about. But yeah, I mean, come on, they're definitely here for Ring of Honor.
So speaking of Ring of Honor, we had Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt. They were the backstage. They beat the crap out of Darby Allin. They did the figure four spot with the sliding door on his chest. So decent spot. Getting a mini feud with Jay Lethal and Darby Allin should be good matches. Not sure how far it goes and what it really means, but I guess it keeps both of them active, which is all you can ask for sometimes when they're not doing anything. I want to see Darby Allin doing big things. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Not going to beat that drum again, but he should be in the world title picture doing big things. He's an AEW cornerstone.
Damn right. Couldn't agree more.
All right. So you go with the MJF promo right now. Talk about this, because this was fire with William Regal.
Yeah, so we got Regal walks down somberly to the ring, you know, doing his William Regal shtick. You scrumptious little muffin, you. And he just gets in the ring, doesn't say a word. MJF comes out, cuts him fucking right off, and really feels like this is how you turn MJF into a babyface. This promo was so fucking goddamn electric. I loved him going all the way back to you sent me this email, the script, and like chills on you. Like, you felt the emotion there, and I like it. Everything he said was like this, like, damn the man, you were the guy that fucked me over. I was 19. You fucking made me want to fucking kill myself. Like, strong ass fucking MJF. And this might be one of the best promos I think we've not only seen out of him, but in AEW, period. This was fucking up there. And I loved Regal going, take the shot. Prove me wrong. You know, like, fucking turns around, turns his back to him. And MJF puts the ring on, and he doesn't do it. And William Regal turns around and, man, you fucking didn't learn shit. Like, it's beautiful, man. It really is. I love the tie-in with the WWE shit. I really do. I love that. Like, oh, I was called up. I got a tryout. Shout out to Cap. Shout out to Brian Myers. Fucking super awesome. And just, it's so intense. But it like, and going into later on in the night, like, you see the face side of MJF coming out more, and in a fucking really cool way. And I think this is how you turn a fucking heel into a rocket hot baby face in 2022. They're doing it.
Because I'm better than you, and you know it.
This fucking Mark.
What's going on, man? How you doing, Tom?
I'm driving home from work, and I'm just yelling at you guys as I'm listening to your news reports.
Why are you yelling?
What are you yelling at us for?
Well, number one, if NXT beats Dynamite in the ratings this week, and you call down all your fucking major stars from your main rosters, NXT didn't beat Dynamite.
Technically, it did, though.
No,
I mean,
technically it does, but when you're calling down stars from your main roster to that show, it's not that show that beat it. Technically,
did you mishear what we were saying? We were siding with that. I don't think it's a badge of honor for them to beat them at all.
No, it's not. It means nothing when you're calling down AJ Styles.
At the end of the day, the ratings mean nothing from the beginning. Like, we're all just talking about numbers here, and the way we consume, as we talk about this, the Nielsen ratings mean dick at this point.
Yeah, this day and age, they're not accurate at all. It's like freaking terrible. So, and I hope they don't. I hope Dynamite still wins.
And even
I think they will for sure.
Yeah, I mean, who the fuck's gonna watch NXT for no reason?
So it always hurts whenever they move nights. Like when they move for what was it, the NBA, their ratings tanked. So
I don't know. That crowd was fucking electric. I was enjoying myself.
I can't wait to watch it. I haven't seen it yet. I just got in the door from work, so I'm about to go watch it. So
watch it.
Looking forward to hearing this MJF promo now.
Oh, the best.
I was going to ask your opinion on it. so I guess you can't give the opinion on it if you haven't watched it, but it is worth watching. And obviously, what's that?
I'm going to go watch the whole show now.
Yeah. So William Regal, as you mentioned, Mike, he turned his back on him. I thought this was a really good moment to have just you're really building up that plight of consciousness for him. He has an idea about, he wants to be this bad guy. And I think William Regal is really emphasizing to be the bad guy with morals, not taking the cheap shot at Tony Schiavone. They really emphasize that. And the fact that MJF didn't take the shot at William Regal today, that spoke volumes to me. And he almost, to the point, to spoke how well MJF was on the mic. You almost turned William Regal heel in that moment where people just want to see William Regal, but they were booing him when he first was speaking. That was amazing to me.
No, absolutely. That's what, like, every fucking detail of this segment was gold. Like, absolute gold. I loved it. And I loved when Regal's like, I saw it in you. I saw what you've become in you at 19, but he's like, if it took that email, then you got off lucky. Like, there were so many fucking really good lines in that promo that made it such a standout thing. And yeah, this is what William Regal does. And you put him in the ring with MJF, like, you're of course you're gonna get fucking magic. It's gonna be some of the best shit you're gonna see, and it was. And fucking, I don't know how else. I can't wait for babyface MJF because it's fucking coming way faster than I thought it was.
It's Bret Hart Stone Cold level. Like, this is the double switch of WrestleMania 13 where Full Gear may be that moment where Moxley turns heel and then we get a face MJF, and you go to the races here, and obviously MJF has to redefine what a face is, just as Stone Cold did that, because he's never going to be that Buffalo returning hero wearing the Josh Allen jersey. I don't want to see that. And obviously that was tongue in cheek when he was doing it, and he was getting people to cheer him. They wanted to see him. But dude, he has to be that rule breaker.
Like, even him doing that in Buffalo, joking around, like acting like that, people are going nuts for it. Like
100%. But that was the full-time shtick. Like, it only works because it's MJF. Like, that's because he's the one making it work.
But did you guys watch him on Sam Roberts? Did you watch it yet, Mike?
No, I didn't.
Yes, it was a great promo.
It was an hour and 20 minutes of pure gold.
I was gonna start it up today, and I totally forgot to because
It's so
just doing
good.
work shit.
But what does it mean for AEW if he goes face? Can he be the face? Can he be the thing that gets more eyes to AEW as a face?
I think so.
I think he could be a huge Uber face. Like he could become the biggest thing since Stone Cold.
Yeah, you got to watch Dynamite because
Watch
it's happening.
Yeah.
It's fucking happening. Like right now,
You know what?
it's
It all
happening.
started a couple weeks ago when he almost shook Wheeler Yuta's hand, and then
Exactly.
Stokely came in.
Yep.
Like they planted little seeds. Then it's being done in such a beautiful way. Everything he does is gold. Every
Yeah.
story he tells is the best thing on that episode of Dynamite.
I think it's just going to keep getting better.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, he or what Ace said, you got to redefine what a face is. That he's totally doing it right now. Because like he was this. I mean, come on. Before All Out, he was this prick. Everybody fucking hated him, and now like he comes back, gets the pop, crowds. This is what I think. This is one of those changing lanes moments, especially with the media scrum and everything. Because you knew it was going to be Punk and MJF. Like, obviously, he came out, he did the thing. I got the poker chip. He's got to be the heel in that, right? I mean, maybe. You could have turned Punk. You could have turned easily. Like, but I think it's working out even better that it's Mox. Because everybody loves Mox now. They're like, he's the guy. He's sober. He's fucking got his shit together. Comes out running things. And then you got MJF, who's, man, we kind of like this prick. He's one of those, like, he's a prick, but he's our prick.
This whole thing was that promo, the Fire Me promo. Like, he started off that promo getting booed, and by the time he was done, they were chanting MJF in that promo. It all happened organically. It didn't even start, like, with that promo. That was not supposed to get him over. And that's how the whole thing started. It's the same thing with Stone Cold.
Well, at the time, it was misplaced, too, because, right, you didn't have, I guess, the anger that a lot of people have towards Tony Khan that they do now. Like, so much has spiraled out of control since that moment where AEW is not the ultimate babyface that they were, 6 to 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Now we're sitting here and there's a certain camp of people that side with CM Punk. There's a certain camp of people that side with the Elite. And there's a certain type of people that don't like Tony Khan anymore. There was a time where Tony Khan just used Grand Slam as a barometer of it. He came out 2021, got a huge pop. We had the Vince Fierce Tony sign up in the rafters at Arthur Ashe. This year he came out, there was smattering of boos. There was a significant amount of jeers thrown his way. And that's sort of the tide has shifted. I'm not saying he's going to be that Vince McMahon character to oppose MJF, but maybe him being this Wizard of Oz behind the scenes where he's saying nothing in interviews. He's being this guy that seems like he's a mark for himself. Maybe that's being fueled. And then it's also at the same time, one hand washes the other, and it creates MJF too. It's like, maybe it's by accident, maybe it's serendipity, or maybe he's this master genius. I think it's the accident part, but
it's an accident.
Even it's MJF all the above.
What really started the fans cheering for MJF that day was when he was pointing out all the WWF talent. If I was a former WWE talent, would you want me then? That's when the fans started to jump on MJF's side and turn on Tony Khan.
Yeah. Because I don't like New Japan Pro Wrestling like your faves.
Yeah. Exactly.
I really think that MJF is utilizing WWE to be that heel. And I mean, WWE being the heel, I think Tony is too likable to be the babe, like the bad guy, right? So why don't let's use the guys from WWE, especially the William Regal thing is fucking perfect because like everybody knew he was a management guy, and he was the dude making decisions, and MJF calling that out in tonight's promo was electric, like that. And everybody you're turning a fucking rocket hot heel into a fucking rocket hot baby face by him calling out the bullshit, and like that's what makes it. So this is how you get a Stone Cold in 2022. I think this is going to be perfect. I think it's going to go over great as long as there's no fucking hiccups. And man, I think it's beautiful.
That brings me to the next point. I mean, we've seen, obviously, MJF feels like he's undeniable. He seems like he's much of a sure thing, as we know in wrestling at this point. But we've seen AEW drop the ball with guys with momentum. You can look at guys like FTR and Wardlow, things that were put on a platter for them to just push them to the moon and have this thing that was a sure thing be able to carry the company through the coming months. Like I said, MJF feels like he's the outlier. He's a guy that's undeniable, similar to Stone Cold 97, that no matter what, injury, bad booking, MJF's going to make the best of every single situation he's in. and make it into gold. They did a musical with Chris Jericho, for God's sake, and it was one of the best things we've seen on Dynamite. Could
100%.
anybody else have done that? You know, like MJF is a guy who can make chicken salad out of chicken shit, as Bruce Pritchard likes to say.
I mean, he outshined Jericho, who has a fucking rock band, in a singing thing. Like, and it made people go like, man, Jericho can't sing for shit. And like, MJF is the guy. Like, he has every fucking thing under his belt, and it's awesome, man. I think it's great, and it just shoot babyface. MJF, prayers for Hangman, man. Like, he's tweeting it out. I love seeing the little shit like just coming together. It's cool, and I'm sure him and Hangman were friends way before all this bullshit. And he's just saying, you know, but he would never have tweeted that 12 months ago.
Good point, Mike. That is.
He would have been like, "Fuck this guy," you know. Like, maybe not that extreme, but he would have been like, he would have just ignored it, you know. So it's there we go, man. I fucking love it. I'm here for.
It's a slow drip, and I think that's important. That you couldn't just pull the Band-Aid off after All Out and say he's a babyface now, cheer him.
Yeah,
they needed to get it to feel organic, and I think the only way to do it organic is to get the crowd to be. They want to cheer him, and I think the moment's going to be at Full Gear. And I think I don't think even Moxley has to do anything to turn heel. I think it's going to be the perfect switch where Moxley's going to get to do this run as a heel. He's never done it in AEW. He loves playing the heel, so I think it's going to be the perfect revitalization for Moxley's AEW run, and MJF can just run parallel with this and just shoot to the moon now, because once you have MJF as champion, the sky's the limit.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely
MJF. We know he's like a generational superstar, but he's also got he is. Oh, he's
no, I agree with you.
He said it tonight, man.
He's a mind for the business. Like when you just hear him speak, like when things he says, you're thinking he makes points, and you're like, "Holy shit, he's right!" Like he sees things in a way that regular people don't see them. And when he points it out, and you think about things he says, like if you go when you watch the Sam Roberts thing, there's a couple of things he says in there, Mike, that makes you go like, "Holy shit!" Like, wow.
I don't know.
I looked at it that way. He's so fucking good. I love listening to that guy speak.
I think that's the difference between him and a lot of guys. You watch interviews, the guys that are truly passionate about pro wrestling, he's a guy that loves pro wrestling thick and thin as a fan. It's in his blood. So he's doing it for money now. It's his livelihood, but it started as a passion. I think he loves it as much as he rips on the indies and rips on New Japan Pro Wrestling. He loves it all. You know, he's watching every piece of wrestling he can consume.
What about the fact that he did a Q&A on Twitter the other night? Did you guys catch that?
That was great.
I did see that. Yeah.
Like he wouldn't have done that a year ago either.
No, absolutely not. And like you're seeing little things slowly trickle out, and like you said, it's a slow drip, but
so good.
How else would you want it? I mean,
enjoy the ride, like you always say. You just got to enjoy the ride. Watch MJF week by week and just take it in.
Yeah,
bidding war of 2024.
Yeah, there's no 24.
Yeah, there probably will be after this fucking whole segment's done.
He's not going anywhere. He's signed up already.
It was good.
I won't believe anything until it's said and done. The wrestling world, come on, 2022 was wild. 2023, who knows what we're in store for.
Who knows? So it's gonna be good. Lots of bakeries.
Bakeries, get your Mindy's ready.
All right, let's touch on this Chris Jericho Dalton Castle match. I just want to give some love to Dalton Castle.
My goodness.
I said in the intro, Dalton Castle has this electric energy that every time he's on your screen, he makes the most of every opportunity. Former Ring of Honor champion. If you guys haven't seen Dalton Castle in his best work, his Ring of Honor championship run back in the day, a couple of years ago, was cut short due to a serious back injury. But that run was very memorable. He wasn't actually pinned for his title, so they made a point of saying that, which I did like that Ian Riccoboni brought up. He was never pinned for the title. He's never been pinned as single competition for the ROH Championship up until tonight. Chris Jericho got the win here. They also announced Final Battle will be on Saturday, December 10th. Looks like they're moving full throttle towards ROH. So we have that in the cards. So get used to seeing ROH in our booking plans. We're going to be seeing a lot of ROH storylines being thrown at us. Probably at the end of November, they're going to start throwing Final Battle storylines. Hopefully we get a goddamn TV deal soon.
Yeah,
I don't mind it anymore because it doesn't, like in the beginning it kind of felt shoehorned in. Now they're telling real friggin' stories with it that I can't wait to see.
What's 100%. It called? Yeah, Tony said something about we're going to hear some great news about a weekly Ring of Honor television spot. Who knows what it means, where it's going to be, but we're getting there.
Dude, I don't
Thank
care if
God.
it's streaming on YouTube. I'll watch it if it's telling the stories like we're seeing right now.
You won't watch it. You'll say you're gonna watch it. And you'll be like,
I'll
"Oh, it was
watch
great."
He's just gonna watch the Sam Roberts MJF thing on repeat.
I loved it.
Fucking amazing match. So cool. I was talking about it a little bit earlier, but how awesome is it that it's 2022 and we get to see Jericho
Dalton
versus
fucking
Dalton
Castle.
fucking Castle, man. Another thing you wouldn't have said a year ago because you'd been like, "What? Dalton Castle? Like that's fucking crazy." Presence. I mean, the entrance was electric. Dalton Castle is a fucking star, and still, I mean, the spots he was doing when he kept picking him up, putting him down, and then pick him up and putting him down before he did the suplex to him. It was magical, man. And like the guy owns his shit. He's a master of the craft. I love Dalton Castle before AEW ties. I'm fucking pumped to see him on my TV. I want more Dalton Castle on my TV. Guys, the guy is a rock star. It was such a good match. And then the shenanigans after the match where Jericho goes to take on fucking Rick and Bonnie. Yeah, spoilers. Get the fuck out there. But Jericho goes after Rick and Bonnie and fucking Jerry Lynn comes out, and part of me wants to see Jerry Lynn fucking put those tights on one more time. I know he's fucked up beyond repair, but imagine a Jerry Lynn Jericho Ring of Honor match.
God damn.
How insane that would be. Both got really huge ties to the history of it now. And it would be so good. So fucking good. But it was good to see Jerry out there. It took that very, very pathetic tombstone from Jericho on the title. Jericho just kind of laid him down. Like
Linda McMahon-esque a little bit.
Yeah, very Linda McMahon. But it was cool to see Jerry Lynn get involved. I love it. It's so cool. It's crazy that we've seen Dalton Castle, Ian Riccaboni, fucking Jerry Lynn,
Also
and Chris
NYWC
Jericho.
Hall of Famer Jerry Lynn.
Hell yeah, all in the same segment tonight. Like that's fucking wild, man.
The other thing I really enjoyed about this match too is the storytelling done by Ian on commentary. And I know Excalibur does a really good job for the AEW storylines, but what was really emphasized in this match was the injured back. And they told that story all throughout. And obviously Jericho has the built-in submission with the walls of Jericho. And once you have that built in, they really emphasize it's been a 4-year journey to get to this point in a big spot. Of course, we've seen him in Ring of Honor. He's appeared on Rampage. He's also been, I think he's been on Dynamite in small capacities, but this was the biggest match in 4 years since his injury. And I felt like it was a coming out party. And I thought he showed out. I thought there was a really good moment there with the boys. For a moment when he was doing his celebration in the ring as he was coming out with all the pomp and circumstance, it felt like a really big deal. And I think, people that aren't familiar with Dalton Castle and you're probably asking yourself, who is this guy? I have to say, like, Thomas is someone that maybe you're familiar with him, maybe you're not. I know he's been on TV a little bit here and there. I want to hear your opinion when you come back to us about how you felt, because I felt like he kind of transcended just being that guy who was just there for the slaughter for Jericho. I felt like not that he was going to win the title. I know that Jericho's story is bigger than Dalton taking it away right now, but he definitely has a place as he's got to be a pillar of this new ROH. Yeah. He's someone that needs to be in the main event.
I'll tell you a funny story. I had met Dalton Castle when I had no idea who he was a few years ago. And just being in the room with him and watching him talk and shit, I'm like, oh my God, this guy is fucking good. And then I started following him after that, and I've been a fan of his ever since. So I've enjoyed his appearances. I can't wait to see tonight's match, the way you guys are talking about it. But the guy's just got some charisma that most people don't have. Like, even in a room where he was just doing an interview and his interactions with the crowd, like, he won me over that night when I met him. I think it was at the SummerSlam event when they were back in New York City. He was hurt at that time. He was out of action.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, but he was really, I got a picture. I got a selfie with him afterwards, so.
He's an eccentric, electric persona.
Really, really is.
Yeah.
And I think a big piece of what he did, he withstood what it took to get back in the ring at a high level. And I know there's all these guys that talk about their back injuries, and Jericho's one of them. And DDP was someone that could have ended his career early, and he got it right. And the yoga he credited to it, and whatever Dalton did to get back. Nevertheless, it took a lot of personal inner strength and outer strength to get back to the point where he's doing at this high level. And it just shows you, if you persevere through your challenges, he's a living proof that you could be reaching your goals. He could have gave up, and he reached a pretty big height being ROH champion in Ring of Honor. But I think if you would have asked him 4 years ago when he went down with an injury, he's going to be wrestling Jericho, as you mentioned, on Dynamite for the same ROH championship, I think you'd be like, no, you're crazy. There's no way. But
no, absolutely.
Wrestling's weird like that.
It's weird. It's wild time to be a wrestling fan because you're getting some gold, man, like that. And speaking of Ring of Honor championships, those video packages finally that we're starting to
So good.
see.
Punk was
awesome.
shown, which
Punk,
was cool. Seth
Cody,
Rollins was shown.
yeah, Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, Tyler Black.
Tyler Black, yeah.
How interesting is it that it was
Restricted.
tonight while they were up against NXT?
No, but it was good though. It was cool to see.
Awesome.
I like they have some history to lean on. They should utilize it. Like I think when I was in Vegas for the Dynamite, they showed like a Ring of Honor package, and I was like, I thought I texted the group chat, and I was like, "Yo, guys, did you see the fucking Ring of Honor thing?" And they're like, "No, they didn't air it on TV." I was like, "What the fuck, man?" Because it was cool. It was awesome to see them utilizing the history of it. And yes, they did show Punk, which was fun. They showed Danielson. They showed a bunch of people, but yeah, man, it's cool that they have that history to kind of lean on, show how important Ring of Honor is. That's a big deal, man.
Streaming service, so they could just put it all up there, so I could go back and watch it all.
I have a big feeling HBO Max is gonna get a fucking huge
I think so.
update with Warner and Turner.
Well, they're merging and everything, right? It's going to be announced. They're announcing a whole new service, so that is probably where it'll wind up.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm into wherever it goes. I just want to have kind of closure at this point and understand where to find it and separate the two. I don't want them to be intertwined. Not just for the benefit of the AEW product, the ROH product would benefit from having it on its own, because right now it's clouded. The ROH title would feel such like a much bigger deal having it on its own show. The fact that it's up against the AEW title here, it's never going to feel on the same level. It could if you have it on two separate shows.
Yeah, but they're building it, like they've already built Ring of Honor to a point right now where they've got so many of people who weren't invested in it before, they'll jump over to it to continue seeing where these stories are going.
Yeah, and I think the best way they could handle that is having the Jericho payoff happen at Death Before Dishonor or
Final
their
Battle,
first episode, or Final Battle, and then maybe their first TV show or whatever it is.
After that, and then you have to tune into that to continue with the story. It's perfect.
It would be great.
The damage to the ROH title that was done for the first couple of months on AEW television, it's going to take a lot to get it back up to where it should be prior to being on AEW television. I think the damage was immense. Like it feels like a mid-card title, and I love ROH, and so it has a history, and I've been watching since I was a kid, a teenager.
Yeah.
So I love ROH, but seeing what the title has become, and I think you're right, Jericho has got it back up to these heights because it's presented with meaningful storyline. But I think and I love John Gresham, but the way that the ROH title was presented with him as champion, absolute garbage. It was on the level of being like the WWF European title. And it pains me to say that, but that's what it was like.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Who's going to be Ring of Honor's Redeemer and take the belt off of Jericho? Because that's the big deal. Like,
why do you use the word Redeemer?
I'm just saying. Because it's as it feels, it's Jericho's.
You thinking it's Miro? Is that what?
No. I'm saying they're what the picture they're painting is Jericho's sports entertaining Ring of Honor, and like he's attacking everybody. The ring announcer, the commentator.
Dalton Castle is probably the most sports entertaining version of Ring of Honor champion they've ever had.
That's very true, but he was amazing.
Yeah. I'm not saying.
Well, PCO, if you want to go to ROH history, PCO was literally Frankenstein too. So he was doing the Undertaker plus the zombie gimmick back from ECW. So
did you all think it's a former Ring of Honor champion that takes down Jericho?
I think it's.
I think you kind of have to start the brand with ROH.
Who would you pick?
That's the hard question.
I would go Bryan Danielson. I think that's where you should go with it. And I know they told the story and they have had 3 matches, but I think having the 4th match, maybe at Final Battle, and give Danielson, if they're going to have a TV deal and you can guarantee Bryan Danielson be on our TV 2 hours a week, an hour a week, whatever it is, with the ROH banner, fuck yeah, I'd sign up for that. But also guys like Jay Lethal, I think I would sign up for that as well for meaningful storyline. And I know Jay Lethal's involved with Darby now, but also with Sanjay Dutt. Strip that away. Jay Lethal deserves to be emphasized in an ROH main event form. Shout out to Jay Lethal.
Yeah, 100%, man. But yeah, it's Tavern sticker acceptor. We love you very much.
We love you, Lethal.
No, it's got to be a big name. You can't take it off of one of the biggest names in wrestling and put it on, Samoa Joe again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that
I thought it was going to be
Garcia.
That's who I thought they were lining it up. But similar to the Luchasaurus Christian thing with the double switch, I feel like now that Daniel Garcia is settled with JAS again, I think he needs to stay that way. And I don't want to see Jericho feud with him until the timing's right. It needs to a lot of time has to pass for that to mean something. It would take away from the moment we saw in that match if he was just to turn face again.
No, and this week they felt like they were pulling away from that a little bit too. Like they didn't bring it up at all. They didn't mention that there was any bullshit. You know what I mean? Like it was just he was on the ramp with Jericho. What they were beating up fucking Rickenbody together.
Yeah, Renee brought up to Danielson, and Wheeler did during the interview and said he has Dragon Slayer in his freaking video when he comes out. Like he was tricking you, and Danielson was poo-pooing it, saying like, no, he didn't bury him in character. I guess he still has hope that he would turn back. And I don't know, man. I don't want to see it switch back so easy, but Daniel Garcia would have been my answer 3 weeks ago. I thought that was set up. I thought they were going to title for title.
I could totally see them doing Danielson and then Garcia fucking Jericho over in the match. Danielson wins. They shake hands afterwards. I knew you had it in you, kid. Like, have a white T-shirt from Daniel Bryan.
Exactly.
I love that.
But I'm here for it, man. I'm super excited.
But similar to, I guess, AEW as an infant brand where you had Hangman versus Jericho to establish it, I think if ROH gets off the ground with a TV deal, streaming deal, whatever it looks like, you can have this unknown entity. And I'm not saying Daniel Garcia hasn't done anything this year, but he's not quite a known entity for the casual audience. Someone to get you to watch their product. You need someone who's established. Bryan Danielson has not only the history, he has the drawing power, and he's also a huge star. It's the perfect guy to start ROH with under the Tony Khan era and have him just on TV. So have him take the title from Jericho. The history's there. You have them built-in story. It's been going on for a year and a half at this point with Jericho and Danielson. So there's a lot of story to be told. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me. And the more we worked it out, workshopping here about it.
Yeah. No, but listen, man, it would be cool. And that could be your first program too. You could even have Jericho and Danielson go into a little feud together if you needed to. Like you have fallback, like you have a cushion that you could kind of work in a big manner Ring of Honor with. And it'll be the biggest thing that happened with Ring of Honor since the Elite was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean.
And Cody, too. That was a great run.
Yeah.
Cody had that being said, there's 11 people in here. If you guys can drop likes on the video, please make sure you guys are leaving comments and likes. Who do you think will be ROH champion when the streaming deal starts? Who do you want it to be? Is it Daniel Garcia? Do you want to see Jericho continue with ROH exclusively? Let us know in the comments, whether live or off the video. Comments and likes go a really long way in the algorithm, so make sure you guys are doing that to get our views up. So we're trying to reach 1,000. We're really close. Thanks to Tom with all the shorts. Shout out to Tom with all these shorts and thousands of views and stuff. So it's been immensely important for our growth towards 1,000. But we're almost there, guys. Tell your friends about Turnbuckle Tavern.
Just real quick, if you guys aren't on the in with the YouTube shorts yet, check on the bottom of your YouTube app. There's a little button called Shorts and start watching them. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. Not only ours, but there are some good ones of ours. There's some front row shit from Dynamite when we were in West Virginia that I've been slowly putting up. But I've find myself hooked to YouTube Shorts all of a sudden, and YouTube's putting a lot of money into making that part of their site go a long way. So check them out. Just want to tell you guys, I see Chris Nowinski sent out a tweet a couple of minutes ago. He's the concussion specialist now going around and says, send in positive thoughts to Hangman. This was not a high-risk move. Something went wrong. Ref Paul Turner is trained to recognize a concussion or a possible neck injury and stop the match. Doc Sampson was ringside and there in seconds. Gives us the best chance for a good outcome. So the rumor is it is a concussion. And let's hope that he's all right.
Yeah. Darren, thank you for watching. Seems like a new person here in the tavern. Tom just gave you the latest. We know Chris Nowinski had said it is probably concussion. We know Chris has been studying head injuries since he had his own head injury back in 2003. That was where he had that really horrible drop kick out of the Royal Rumble 2003 with Edge and Christian landing on his face. I think it was Edge and somebody, but either way, Chris Nowinski was really knocked up and he had a really hard time coming back.
He knows how to spot a concussion.
Yeah.
And he's been involved too with a lot of the sport too, with Tua being injured and the Dolphins. He was all over that story. So it transcends wrestling at this point.
Tua went down again that night. He's like, if something happens tonight, and wouldn't you know he went down that night?
Yeah, no, he set up the whole concussion agency thing. Like he's there to do the work because it fucked him over really bad, and he's seen a lot of his coworkers and people get messed up from concussions, man. He's doing good work with that.
Dude,
But I mean,
he deserves so much credit for what we know about concussions in 2022 compared to what we did back in 2003 when he had his. It's amazing how far it's come in just the last 19 years. So
yeah, and he's a stand up and caring dude, man, and he just really loves the business. He doesn't want to see anybody get hurt.
And also normalizing, like taking a step back where it's not just about finishing the match, finishing the game. It's about your health first and foremost. You only have one brain. Like you can't go out there and just take a sniffing salt and go back out there, rub some dirt on it. We see some nasty concussions, and we see the effects of the older generation of wrestlers, older generation of football players, hockey players, guys that were not even tested for concussions, just thrown back into the game. And the history in all those sports, it's staggering, the high death rate at a young age for some of these players and wrestlers, and all related to head injury. And now that we know a lot, we should, it's hard to go back, and it's hard to go back and watch some of this old stuff and realize when you watch Balls Mahoney take unprotected chair shots and Mick Foley doing the same.
There's like a Mick Foley and The Rock in that I Quit match. Holy shit.
Yeah. The Royal Rumble 99 is impossible to watch now and not think about that stuff. And at the time, we didn't think of anything of it. We're like, oh, I can't believe Triple H puts his hands up to block the chair.
Pussy.
Bryan Danielson, if you've listened to his interviews, how much he's learned about the brain, how much he's done to rehab his brain, and his brain, like all the work he's put into what his brain and what he's done to learn how to fix it. They said his brain is healthier than a guy who's never had concussions.
Yeah.
As many as he had. He's like, he goes into these oxygen chambers, and it's amazing what he's learned. I wish I knew half of what he did.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With that being said, let's go right into the main event and talk about Jon Moxley and Hangman Page that started off hot, didn't end the way we wanted it to.
It's time for the main event.
Woo! Mark Henry always gets me all jacked up and ready to roll, man.
Mike, lead us through this. It got off start. No championship entrance. Didn't have the two guys on the corners of the ring. Justin Roberts did his thing. You knew that they only had 30 minutes. Match started around 9:30. They say it's a 60-minute time limit, as Hawk likes to say. We know they're not going over. So you knew they had to start immediately, get the most bang for your action. They start out of the ring. Uehara moonsault off the balcony. Too many commercial breaks, but lead us through what went on, Mike, to start the match.
Picture needs to get the fuck out of here. It is way too, especially at least for the main event. Take it off. No ads in the last 10 minutes. You got to do something like
especially the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean,
45 minutes, you get like 2 commercials, and then they're all piled in the second half. Let's spread them out a little better.
Easily, yeah. But I mean, listen, great back and forth. Hangman and Mox were beating the piss out of each other. Mox gets bloodied. Hangman just ran right up through the barricade, straight up to Mox as he was making his entrance out. As you said, he did the moonsault off the balcony, which was totally uncalled for that early in the match.
Well, and, again, during commercial break too. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like, pick and choose your battles, man. So he does that. They're going back and forth, and Mox is busted open. He's bleeding all over the place, like he usually is. And they go for that clothesline sequence, man. And it's something we see a million times in a night, a million times in an episode of Dynamite. We've seen so many clotheslines already tonight. But I mean, that he just really took a really fucking nasty landing. Unless Mox hit him stiff, which could also be.
Yeah, he looked like he
was
hard
to tell. Every time I watch it, it looks different to me.
No, he looked like he was out to me before he hit the ground.
No, he was definitely fucked up.
Yeah.
But not moving. Like there's the thing of concussion. He would have flipped around, maybe like at least got on his back. He was stuck like that for a while, and you could tell they were killing time. Like you said, Excalibur was talking slow. They kept fucking doing that shitty pan to the top of the ring lights and stuff, and they loosened the ropes. I had a feeling something was going to happen storyline wise, because they don't ever start a match a half hour before they go off the air. Like I was like, this is way too much time for them to have a wrestling match, no matter what the outcome is. Way too much time for them to do this, and that's why I was expecting MJF to come out and cash in. And I mean, technically he did, right? But it came after a really shitty spot with Hangman, and he got fucked up. And I don't know, man. I was expecting the match to go the way it did, minus the injury.
Right.
I was expecting Mox to win. I thought they probably thought they were going to have more time, was maybe the finish was coming up, and the Hangman shit just obviously stopped the whole match. But you could totally tell that they were stalling. And like they should, the Rampage commercials, oh, we got this going on. Excalibur was talking normal, like not like he was all jacked up on Mountain Dew, like fucking, he was running his shit. And yeah, man, I don't know. It's weird. It was still a really awesome moment with MJF afterwards. And I'll go back more into the MJF stuff, but like, I don't know, man. What do we do without Hangman for a while? Like, obviously he's got to get better, no matter what the hell the injury was, be it a concussion. I mean, look how bad concussions have not only became, but they take you out for a long time. Look at Adam Cole. We haven't seen Adam Cole wrestle
back. Like,
yeah, nothing. And that's the crazy thing. And yeah, man, I hope he's okay. I hope it's better. I hope it's not a neck thing. The way Taz was saying it, he kept saying, "As somebody who was injured myself, it was all fucked up." It sounded like he was talking about it was being a neck injury. So hopefully it's not a neck injury. Shit's bad though when they're doing those. I'll call them own heart shots, where they're shooting everything but the ring. They're shooting the guys at the thing with Mox was trying to talk. They still were shooting the lights. They had to loosen that bottom rope. Very serious situation. But yeah, man, it's fucked up.
Yeah, you could tell the commentary team was shaken up. Like you said, they weren't prepared to do this. They had 10 minutes to kill, and 10 minutes is a very long time, as anybody knows.
Oh, yeah.
Public speaking, if something goes awry, and you just like kill time.
Yeah.
Very hard to do. I thought they did their best, but they knew they had to get to where they needed to be with MJF, and one thing led to another. They needed to get MJF in the ring, cashing the chip, and saying he wants to wrestle Moxley at Full Gear. So they made the best of it. And I thought it just shows the true professionalism of everybody involved. Not only the doctors at ringside, the referee that had the foresight to say, we need to get this guy not being hit anymore. He's clearly knocked out, thinking on his feet. And then also those that, Moxley grabbing the mic and the announcers knowing what to do. And this is not an everyday occurrence. And, show business, a lot of times live stuff not everything goes to plan. And
no, absolutely.
This was like the worst case scenario you could think of, because you had 10 minutes left in a huge angle that's going to set off the next few weeks of build towards one of your bigger pay-per-views. So they needed to make sure it went off without a hitch, because this was a huge moment that Moxley and MJF are going to be coming face to face with their match finally announced. So it wasn't like they could have went off air and just kind of had them read the Rampage card. They need to make sure Hangman was safe out of the ring, and then they can get MJF to come out.
Yeah. And that listen, they went over a minute because of the injury thing. Like I had a feeling it was going to happen earlier, and it's like it was 9 or 8:50. Yeah, 8:51, and I'm watching it, and I was like, oh shit, like they're really dragging out the fucking getting Hangman out of the ring. So he knew it was serious. But yeah, Mox wins obviously, no question about that. But we move on to William Regal talking to Mox. The Mox gets on the mic. Very Mox promo. Listen, man, I hope the guy gets to go home and walk with his kid, do all this shit and stand up and fucking take a shit. I'm fucking John Moxley. MJF's fucking music hits. Again, MJF very much playing this fuck you, I could do this character, as opposed to being like the shitty snothead. Comes out, gives William Regal a fucking poker chip, says I'm cashing in at Full Gear, and I'm going to beat you fucking one-on-one. I don't want you at 50%. I don't want you. Very complete, like 180 from the MJF character that we know, because he would have been like, yeah, let's do this. Fuck you. Let's do it right now. And the tell is he comes out in street gear. Even when he was taking his shirt off, I knew he wasn't going to fight. I knew he was going to do the thing where he rolls out of the ring. Fuck this. I'm not doing it. But he didn't flip off the crowd. He didn't get pissy. He went full-blown, take this Regal, ran up, grabbed the microphone, started talking shit. And then the other tell is he's doing this, come on, to the crowd. And the crowd's like, fuck yeah, MJF. It's so beautiful. I love the picture they're painting with this. And it's fucking, this is good. This makes up for the lack of storytelling for the last couple months. Really does. This is, because when it's, you could do a million stories and they all could flop. But when it's done fucking right, like it is right now, as it's being done, nothing makes for better pro wrestling. You're giddy like a school kid. You're like, fuck yeah, it's like Christmas. You're like, yeah, I'm so happy right now. I can't wait to see this go down. And that's how I feel about it.
We went from All Out, where we didn't have a main event up until the week before. Now we have this long build. I mean, we all thought MJF and Moxley were going to be having their championship match there. It felt like a foregone conclusion, but you never know with AEW sometimes. So now we have weeks to build. I mean, we're a little over a month left, right? Was it November 14th is Full Gear? So
19th.
a little less than a month, I should say. So we have
19th.
How many Dynamites? 3 Dynamites left before we get to Full Gear.
Yeah.
So there's a significant amount of time to build this and make people care about it, because I feel like this is going to be a launch point for the MJF character. He's already established as a pillar. He's an important part of the fabric of All Elite Wrestling, but this is a moment we talked about in the news about Moxley giving back to the business and planting the seeds for trees that he won't ever sit under. MJF's career is going to go long past where Moxley is. And I think this is an important moment because certain things have to be done right. And I think Austin was undeniable back in 97. No matter what, we would have got the Austin character. And I think he would have been a transcendent star. I don't think it would have happened as fast and as effective if we didn't have that exact moment. WrestleMania 13, middle of the ring, bloodied face, because Brett did a great job of putting him over. So I think both dance partners have to come bring in their best. The story has to be meaningful. And I think Mox is the perfect dance partner for this. I'm very excited for what the future holds, but I'm also very excited for MJF getting that brass ring and being able to carry it, because his time is long overdue. And I know we've been pining for it for a very long time, but it's going to be so worth the wait when he's finally on top and the pay-per-view ends and you get the credits and he's standing there with the confetti raining down. And it feels like we're off to a new race. It's almost like WrestleMania 14 when Austin finally won the title from Shawn Michaels. Now we can start building towards with our guy. This is the guy they want to build around.
Absolutely. And just think about how different this would have been if this was MJF and Punk and not MJF and Mox with Regal. Sure, Punk would have been great on the mic. I have a feeling they would have turned Punk. Obviously, they were working on it by all means. And MJF would have been like that. That would have been their double turn for that. But I mean, having William Regal there to be the mic guy, because Mox's promos are always going to be, yo, grab a chili dog. Let's fucking, run through this goddamn arena and fucking party. Wild thing, man. Like,
what do you say about pop? Your head's going to pop like a Pez dispenser at Full Gear? There's
yeah.
nothing more Mox than that.
But I mean, it couldn't have been done better. I think having the mishaps with the media scrum and everything, and they're working with what they got. I think what they got now probably overshadows what would have happened. And yeah, say Punk comes back, what a perfect person to challenge MJF. What a perfect program. Like somebody, there's so much room to work with this now. And they also, the other thing we overshadowed, they mentioned the Bucks tonight. They showed CM Punk in the thing. So it seems they showed Kenny in the package too. It seems the ban is semi-lifted for at least today, for whatever it is. If there was a fucking ban, who even knows? But it seems like things are kind of getting back to normal, and it's okay. Everything's okay, man. Everything's gonna be all right. But I'm here for MJF being the guy.
Just to go back to that with the trios match, where they mentioned the title history, and you could tell I think it was Excalibur said it, and then he was like, he felt like he stumbled over his words because he's like, shit, I probably shouldn't have said that. So it just felt weird because he's like, yeah, after the Elite, I had to vacate the titles. It just felt very awkward. And I was like, I can't believe they just said it. My ears perked up when I heard the Elite, because it's been so long since we've heard any of their names mentioned.
Yeah, it's wild, man. And now with Hangman injured, I mean, how crazy is it that all the starters are on the bench now?
Hangman's
for whatever reasons
been back on our screen on a regular basis since All Out. It kind of been missing a lot from when he lost the title to Punk. That much.
It wasn't involved in anything significant. They finally, and as the Chad said in the flagship, they finally made him feel like he's a top guy, and Moxley helped get him there. Talk about giving back to the business. Hangman finally felt the same level as all these guys, like he did in the beginning when he first won the title.
Getting what?
Hangman back to that level is important.
It's crazy because I honestly felt like he didn't feel like that. I felt like he was being used as a filler to the MJF story. And
I thought Moxley had him face to face. I mean, he put him over as big as you could as far as promo goes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a miss for me. I felt like he was being used.
It's his masturbatory Terry Funk matches that he does all the time. That fucking cowboy.
I wasn't in love with Hangman's promo last week like everybody else was.
I thought
it was great, honestly.
Mox's tail ending on it was better than the promo itself. I think Hangman's a fucking package, right? He's fucking beautiful guy going out there doing his shit. Obviously fucking able to carry the company for a little bit with the title. You can see him doing it again. I got nothing against Hangman. I think Hangman's great. It's just weird. Everything fell weird, especially after the media scrum. Like, oh, we got Hangman Mox back in the title picture. Like, but they're working on it, you know. And I thought Hangman's title run was lackluster until the final match. You know, going into the CM Punk thing.
See, that was interesting. He barely got TV time during his title run, especially in the first half of it.
I'm not ending the wrap up shitting on the guy that fucking broke his neck.
No, I'm just saying, he didn't break his neck. He has a concussion. Hopefully, it's not bad.
Well, we don't know what the fuck happened yet. There's no official word.
So either way, I mean, I feel like this was one of the better Dynamites. There was a lot of storytelling that was immersed through all of it. Not only the Jericho stuff, but we had the women's division that popped off. That whole thing was great with the return of Rio and SHIDA and Toni Storm looked like a legitimate badass for the first time in her title reign, in my opinion. And the Britt Baker stuff and the Jamie Hayter stuff's torn in that. And on top of it, you got Saraya, or Saraya, however you say her name, Tomato. So, and the Regal MJF stuff. This was littered with great storytelling, and it's crazy because now we have about 6 or 7 things going on. You can go back a few weeks, felt like we didn't have one goddamn story. So like now they're really turning on the gas here on the stove and heating things up.
I feel like Dynamite overall has been better since All Out with continuity. First, building the championship tournament. I thought they did a decent job with that tournament. I thought it was fun leading up to Grand Slam. Grand Slam was a great show. Overall, I think AEW has been much better since All Out.
It's getting consistent.
Yeah, it's about stabilizing the product. I think they were just on unsteady ground for a while because Punk got injured, then everything went down again, and then Punk got injured again, and then went off the rails, and people got suspended. So
I feel like it's been much more stable since All Out. I feel like they've done a great job.
The ultimate stabilizer.
And it's getting better, and it's just getting better and better, which is awesome. We're all here for that. That's all we want from AEW.
Mox is gonna win. He's like, everybody grab a Schweppes on your way out to the parking lot.
It's about time this industry got a facelift.
Free Schweppes for everyone, damn it.
Free Schweppes for everybody.
It was a great episode of Dynamite. I fucking thoroughly enjoyed everything.
I'm gonna go watch it.
Yeah, you ruined it for yourself because you showed up. Now you didn't know everything. God damn it! I could have read it on the internet.
Let's put the bow on this over here, and Mike, give us what's going on the Tavern on your end and what's on Fig Night. You guys can feel free to both shill everything.
Man, we did a fucking massive unboxing on Fig Night, from AEW toys to WWE toys to WWE superstars. I got a lot of cool shit. I finally have some really awesome toys in the attic, so you guys want to tune in next week. Can't wait to bust them out. I sent Tom a little picture earlier. Some random rare awesome shit, really cool. But yeah, we got that going on. We got Shot of Nostalgia. We're going fucking World War III, baby.
Woo!
60 men, 3 rings. All holy hell's gonna break loose. I can't wait to fucking cover it this Friday. You guys better tune in. We love Flashback Fridays down at the Tavern. And of course, as always, go to the turnbuckletavern.com. Fucking sign up, subscribe, like, share, do all that fun stuff. Tell your mother, tell your brother, tell them to tell their brother's brother and their mother's sons and all that fun stuff. But yeah, man, anywhere you possibly can think of there being a platform, we are on it, and we are regularly posting all the time. I mean, how many live shows do we do a week? How much content can we possibly give you guys? We have a football show, for God's sakes, and it's mildly entertaining, and that's because of Hawk. But yeah, it's fun stuff. Make sure you guys subscribe. Fucking join us on our wild journey here. And let's get to 1,000
shorts.
Yeah, that's your job. You plug your shorts, man.
You watch the shorts. Make sure you watch the whole thing, because the most important thing is watching from beginning to end.
They're like 30-second stops.
It's the retention. And again, they're the longest they can be is 60 seconds. So check them out.
No, it's too long.
Just watch them all. Like watch it
I don't.
to the end.
I don't get a minute to spare of my time for Utah.
It's for the Tavern, you jerk.
Well, Mike, you hyped up Shot Nostalgia already, but I'll get my cheap plug in for Friday as well. You guys will be watching me on the Tavern, but I'll be ring announcing for Remarkable Wrestling Halloween Haunted Havoc, headlined by Gabriel Sky versus Desmond Cole for the Remarkable Heavyweight Championship. Also, we have a career versus hair match, Percy Ryan versus Kono Capuccia. Going to be a great night of wrestling. My debut for Remarkable Wrestling. Looking forward to it. If you guys are in the area, Deer Park, you guys check it out. Doors are at 7. Make sure you guys check it out, 8 o'clock. If you are not in the area, you can also watch it on IWTV. If you're a subscriber, it will be airing live. So you guys can check that out as well. Support independent wrestling. It's the lifeblood of all pro wrestling.
Sign up for IWTV.
Hell yeah. I mean, not just Remarkable Wrestling. There's the Creative Pros on there. Every indie that you can imagine. There's about 150 indies that air live on there. And it's a pretty reasonable price. But at the end of the day, just support these local indies because, I mean, wrestling would be nothing without them.
Is that the same Creative Pro ran by Brian Myers that was mentioned tonight on
And Pat
AEW
Buck?
Dynamite? Holy shit.
Long
It's
Island,
crazy.
baby.
Wow. Name dropper.
You guys can also, you could go back and check out the Visits Tavern. I did one with the Slime Balls tag team from NYWC. 2 great guys, Slime Ball Sage and also Slime Time Tommy Rant. You guys can check them out. Also, the Big Boofa, Desmond Cole, who I mentioned, he'll be main eventing Remarkable Wrestling. Did a nice conversation with him that aired Friday night. And then mid-November, the cause of it all, Joey Conway, an up-and-coming star. Mark my words, and we have Justin Gentile in here. He's the ring announcer for NYWC. Mark my words, Joey Conway is going to be on a big promotion sooner than later. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Joey Conway is a superstar in the making. So he has a casket match with Man Bun Jesus in the NYWC Sportatorium on Saturday. So if you guys are around for that, Friday, Saturday, there's going to be a lot of pro wrestling happening on Long Island. A casket match, damn it. A shoot casket match going to be awesome.
It's going to be great. I, for one, am going to subscribe to IWTV and watch this shit because I have to. I love a great casket match, and it sounds like a hell of a card. And not only that, the ace is going to be in 2 places, breaking spaces. So make sure you tune in the Turnbuckle Tavern. And if you got a nice setup like me where you got 2 computer screens, you throw IWTV up on the right, Tavern on the left, mute one of the audios, turn one of the audios down. Just enjoy it, man. Have a kick-ass Friday. Sit back, relax, enjoy pro wrestling.
Just to be clear, though, the casket match is for NYWC. There is going to be Halloween spooky shit happening for Remarkable. I was just trying to give some love to Justin, but
I'm all over the place. We're good.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure everyone, if you're tuning in for a casket match, that's for NYWC House of Madness. Remarkable. Tune in. You're going to see we have a lot of tag team matches. We have a 6-man scramble match. We also have, a world title match. We're going to be having a lot going on. So, and you get to see me. I'm wearing a nice flashy jacket. Very apropos towards like a Seth Rollins jacket. So BELCASTER sent you a photo of it. So it was my indie debut. So hopefully one of many. We'll see what happens.
As always, you look styling and profiling. No better way to do it, man.
I'll be 2 places at once. I'll be on here on the Tavern talking Shot Nostalgia, obviously, because if you guys want to pull the curtain back a little bit, we do film a little bit in advance because it's evergreen content. It's existing. We could film all of it at once, but I'm very much looking forward to this weekend to be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're using that time traveling DeLorean going from 96.
I am. I mean, this is what it's always been about. We only have 3 episodes left of Shot Nostalgia, so got to get the most out of that DeLorean. We'll be back for ECW though.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. I'm very excited, but I'm super excited for this week's episode because World War III is one of my all-time faves.
I'm killing it. Tom, you have 3 episodes left to figure out which one you want to come on. So maybe for the last one for Starrcade, you want to come on for Hogan versus Roddy Piper. It's right there for you. That's your dude.
Hogan. You're gonna get hot and wild.
What was that?
I said I might have to take you up on that.
It's going to be a jam-packed episode because we had to fit 2 Nitros and a Starrcade because we didn't want to just do one event for a show. So it's going to be, hopefully we could stay under 2 hours, but who knows?
All pandemonium's going to break loose.
Who knows? That's all I got. I do appreciate for you guys allowing me to shill my shilling.
Shilling is the skill that everybody needs to work on, man. We love the shilling, and we appreciate pro wrestling and especially independent wrestling. So make sure you guys, if you're in the area, go support Ace of Shit because that's what it's all about.
That'll be fun, guys. Go check them out. Give them some support. I'm working.
Follow at Remarkable Wrestling, guys, and
there you go.
Maybe just shoot them some money, guys. Independent wrestling, they need the love. Buy some merch.
especially when they're remarkable. Make them more remarkable by supporting them. Hell yeah. This was a great episode, guys.
It's a lot of fun. Tom, thanks for hopping in, man. We missed you. It's been a while
Yeah.
since we've had the three of us in here.
Next week I'll be back. I'm not working.
All right, hell yeah. We got a normal Wednesday, so we have a little bit of a stretch. We got 8 days before our next little meet here in
It's weird.
Digital Land over here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ALC
Tom.
should be over by then, right?
Yeah, because I mean they're gonna really pile on. I mean, they're straight in Houston. They're playing
one day
Go
off.
Yankees, baby. Big fucking win tonight.
They win.
Yeah.
They play like the next 2 days, have a day off, and then I think
We're
if
gonna
there's
beat those
7, it
beating
would be
fucking Astros, man. Well, that's a different story. You guys can hear me.
And Tom, next time you decide to miss an episode,
You owe everyone an apology. You owe me an apology.
talk to my
Special-
boss. He's like, "Can you come in?" I'm like, "I need money." Now, shit, there's a Yankee game. When I said yes, the Yankee game had not been rescheduled till tomorrow. There's no way I would have said yes to start working at 4:00 when there was a game 5 of the LDS.
it's
No way I
dedication.
would've said yes.
Dedication that we love to see. At
We
least
got
you
the
like
win
baseball.
though. It doesn't matter. Got the win.
I had it on in the poker room, and I might have been screaming a little bit as I was dealing poker. So
I can only imagine. Whoa, look at it go. Look at all those balls flying around.
I got hacked when Stanton's ball fly out of the ball.
That's good stuff. All right. Everybody, go enjoy the rest of your evening. We will be back next week. Same usual time, Wednesdays, right after Dynamite. And again, thank you, gentlemen, for all of your sparkling, beautiful takes on this week's episode of All Elite Wrestling. Until then, go watch Flagship, or go listen to Flagship tomorrow, and we will fucking see you later.